Again, this is Roberta Rossi, and welcome to the third of our 4 Innovation Challenge webinars. Excuse me. As I mentioned before, I'm the program manager, and I have with me in the room Deb Santee, who is the Director of Small Business Innovations here at Connecticut Innovations, and someone that you can thank for being the driving force behind this and other programs that really help small tech companies get a leg up in Connecticut. Excuse me. Today we're going to be talking about biomass pathways. It was a topic that was submitted by BASF, and we're very pleased to have with us today Svetlana Dimovsky and Olivia Enger, both from BASF, who are here to share some information with you and answer your questions and see what they can do to help you out to be successful in this challenge. And we're all here, actually, to do our very best to get you all the information that you need so that when you apply, you're in very good shape and you have a really good chance of being funded. So before we start, let me just go over what the agenda will look like for the webinar. I'll be giving you a brief overview of the challenge, and after that, the BASF folks will be talking about the topic, and you'll then have an opportunity to ask questions. Following that, I'll be back talking with you a little bit about the application process and the review, and you'll again have an opportunity to ask your process questions, and we'll follow up with next steps. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Only the speakers will be only the presenters, excuse me, will be able to speak. Everyone else will be on mute, but you will have an opportunity to ask questions. The way you do that is through your question box. Just type them in. You can send them in at any time during the presentation, whenever something comes up for you, but just be aware that we're going to be batching them and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to send them in at any time. Excuse me. In addition, if you're having any technical problems at all, just make sure that you send those in through the question box as well, and we'll do our best to get those resolved for you.
Or email me. This is Deb Santee. Or if that's not working and you're having any technical problem, just send me an email, and I'll be able to see it through Outlook, and we'll try to fix it as soon as possible.
Okay. Great. So let's get started. As you already know, the Innovation Challenge is our newest initiative. It was announced in November, and there is $500,000 in funding available. The real reason behind this challenge is to expedite the concept to commercialization timeline. You know, there's some great research going on out there in our universities and our schools, and there are some wonderful ideas bubbling in our small companies that need that research, and they need that empirical rigor to validate their ideas before they can be produced. In addition, there are a lot of technical challenges out there in the marketplace, and they're emerging every day. So we have our large companies that are looking for solutions to those issues. By putting all three together, it really helps to address challenges, especially in the current open innovation environment, where nobody has all the answers. So by putting everyone together, it not only expedites that timeline, but it's a good thing for all concerned. This particular program is a $150,000 matching program. And for those of you who aren't familiar, what a matching program is, and this one in particular, is the state will put in $150,000. Small companies or their backers will also have to put in $150,000. $75,000 of which needs to be in cash, and the other $75,000, excuse me, can be in kind. Now, we're using these as figures because we're assuming that people will be asking for up to the max, but think of it in terms of percentages. So whatever funding you do get, half of your match will have to be in cash, and half of it will have to be in in-kind services, which are not cash contributions. Things like rent, other kinds of overhead, perhaps consulting. Maybe you want to pay a school or another business to work with you. Those are things that would come out of your match. The challenge topics were identified by the big companies. Those were the emerging market needs that I talked about earlier, so they put 4 of them out there, today's being biomass. And the way the challenge works is a small business must team with a university to propose a solution. Those are the requirements for this particular challenge. It isn't for all of our programs, but for this one, it is. It really is designed to foster collaboration between academia and industry. Okay, so that having been said, I am now going to turn it over to Svetlana and to Olivier, and they're going to talk to you about BASF, about the challenge, and about what their expectations are. So enjoy the program, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Into today. Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for calling for today in today's webinar. And thank you, Deb, Roberta, and the Connected Innovation team for giving us the opportunity to present today. My name is Svetlana Dimosky, and I'm Manager of Open Innovation and Science Relations for North America. And with me today is my colleague Olivier Enger, and he is the Senior Innovation Manager for our innovation platform, and he's calling today from Switzerland. What we are going to do in the next half an hour, I will give a brief introduction of the company in the 10 minutes or so, and I'll talk a little bit about the Open Innovation Program at BASF, and then Olivier will talk more about the topics related to the challenge, and then we'll just wrap up with what are the different options that you can reach us unrelated to the challenge, but if you want to connect to BASF. Next slide, please. Okay, so why partner with BASF and who is BASF? I think by now you probably had an opportunity to look us up on the internet and you're aware, but I'll just summarize that BASF is a German company. Our headquarters is in Ludwigshafen, Germany, and we are the world's leading chemical company. Our 2011 year sales are close to $1 billion, and we employ over 100,000 people worldwide. BASF is a business-to-business company, and we serve with materials, chemistry, and innovative solutions pretty much all of the major large industries. What we bring as a partner is a value chain understanding and also scalability, capability to scale the technology. We operate over 370 production facilities on all of the 5 continents. And of course, what we aspire is to provide world-class, innovative, high-value products and intelligent, sustainable system solutions to our customers. Next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. So BASF is structured in several business segments. We have chemicals. In the chemical segment, we supply products to the customers in the chemical, electronic, construction, textile, automotive, pharmaceutical, and agricultural industries. And we also ensure that other BASF segments are supplied with chemicals for producing downstream products. In plastic segments, within this part of our business, we offer a number of engineering plastics used in automotive and electrical industries, as well as in household appliances, sports, and leisure products. Performance products, the portfolio of the performance product business segment includes vitamins and food additives, as well as ingredients for pharmaceuticals and for hygiene, home, and personal care items. Some other performance products actually are used to improve processes in the paper industry, oil and gas production, mining, as well as water treatment. In the segment of functional solutions, we bundle system solutions and products for specific sectors and customers. And in particular, this applies to automotive, chemical, and construction industries. For example, we offer automotive coatings for pretty much all car manufacturers. In agricultural solutions, this segment is focused on crop protection and products that guard against fungal diseases, insects, and weeds, and their goal is to increase quality and secure crop yields. And finally, we are also the largest German and producer of oil and gas, and we focus on exploration and production of oil and gas-rich regions in Europe, North Africa, South America, Russia and Caspian Sea region. And together with Russian Gazprom, we are very active in transport, storage, and trading of natural gas in Europe. Next slide, please. Okay, so innovation at BASF is global, interdisciplinary, and collaborative. BASF spends over $2 billion in annual R&D. We have about 10,000 R&D researchers located across 70 different R&D sites. I think total size of the research portfolio is about close to 3,000 projects a year, and as a result we file around 1,000 or 1,100 patents. But what is interesting and important to notice that BASF has a long tradition of collaborations with universities, institutions, companies, individuals, and currently this is about close to 2,000. Most of these collaborations, I would say 2/3, are in Europe. We know this is disproportionate to the activity of the innovation ecosystem in North America. So the mission of my team and my colleagues here in North America is to increase this, but of course we are stage and source agnostic, and our colleagues, internal partners are actually coming across the globe. So while innovation, maybe partnership could be in America, in North America, it can be the relationship. I mean, it can actually be a global collaboration. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, this is just to emphasize that again, our team, we don't really, in North America, we don't work in a vacuum. We really we call BASF itself is a large, complex organizational matrix, and our team is a little bit like that. We do work with our colleagues, again, from all of the different parts of the business and parts of organizations. Some are R&D platforms and colleagues in the R&D platforms. Olivier is going to talk more about what they do. We have regional scouting network. We have innovation team in North America comprised of managers, technology and business managers in the region from all of the different business units, as well as we are connected to BASF Venture Capital, Future Business, New Business Development, and so on. So I think the easiest way to connect to all of them is simply by getting in touch with us. Next slide, please. Again, our motto is really the right partnerships for the right reason at the right time. And I would again move to the next slide, simply that emphasize there are 3 types of activities that we do, and we are, or 3 key streams of work for the team, and we are looking into. So one of it is maintain science relations and build connections with the innovation networks and nodes. We have for different networks and nodes, we have different colleagues working, like for example for collaborations with universities, collaboration with small, medium-sized companies, with federal labs, regional economic development offices, and so on. And we try to really understand, because each network or each type of partnership and external entity, they have different expectations, different needs, and different desired experience. So we're really trying to take that into account and incorporate it into how can we be better partner. Another stream of work is really open innovation know-how, and that's really looking into best practices of collaboration and partnering. And third is the open innovation project support. So we help business units, especially business units that don't have a dedicated team for external partnerships. Will help around those, and those that have their scouts and internal dedicated person, then they're pretty much on their own, but we do share resources and we provide resources for their job. So we can move to the next slide. Okay, just wanted to mention that we said that we are trying to build connections to innovation networks and nodes that are important to us, and other companies also will likely have a similar objective. The way we like to do it is, especially because it builds on our Verbund culture, which means the highly integrated systems, we are looking really to find a way how do we do it effectively and how do we bring the whole world of innovation to our internal clients at their desktop, but also how to offer a better value proposition in terms of acting and behaving and thinking like an innovation hub for the chemical industry. Next slide, please. So one can ask, why should we partner with BASF, or why BASF wants to partner with others? And so important is to notice that we are stage agnostic in a way, and we partner at any different point of the innovation or value creation chain. Like for the things that are long term, and we are looking like based on the megatrends, we have internal teams that do pretty much demographic analysis and the megatrends analysis, and they're also looking into market intelligence to try to figure out what are the new and upcoming problems that and pain that we will be facing, and then not just us but the society, and so therefore what will be the future needs. But when we know while we know the landscape of the future needs, sometimes we want to partner to understand, okay, now that we know what is coming, we don't maybe necessarily know always what are the right problems to what are the big problems that will need to be solved and so on. So sometimes we can partner at the front end of open innovation, really in problem finding, facts finding, and defining the right problems to be solved. And other times it could be that now we are aware what the emerging problems are, and either we heard it from did analysis by talking to customers or by the market analysis and so on, but we are looking to accelerate solution formulation. And in this case, it's more like a traditional R&D pipeline partnerships. But this also includes early stage like concept finding, idea finding, concept development, evaluation, and selection of the best possible solution pathways. And finally, we can partner like in some cases we have teams that they know what's the problem, they know what the solution pathway is, but they still want to partner with the external team or a company to accelerate go-to-market and or to delight our customers more completely to actually implement the better solution. So this would be more like a commercial open innovation in some cases that may involve licensing, or it can be joint venture or any other form of commercial partnering. Next slide, please. And wanted to emphasize that we are aware, of course, it's a two-way street, and partnerships needs to be mutually selective. While we might be looking to specific solutions and opportunities through campaigns and challenges and so on, we understand. We appreciate actually when someone points us in the direction or thinks about BASF and specific new opportunities. So we do have a separate program that enables unsolicited submission of the proposals and suggestions for collaboration, or simply collaboration matchmaking system. And I will talk a little bit later about that, how to learn more about leads management and unsolicited proposals, but we will now switch to Olivier. And next slide, please. And he will cover more about the megatrends and the platforms and the specific challenge for this discussion today.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. So we'll try to cover a little bit of that Lana mentioned. I'm going to cover a little bit the strategy, the research and innovation strategy of BASF. That would be one or two slides to give you a bit of background why the challenge came up like that, and then come to the challenge, which I kept also very, very general. So please don't hesitate to ask any question if required. So first of all, I mean, all our new innovation strategy is focused on one fact, which is that 9 billion people would be present on one Earth in 2050. And BASF sees itself as an important player to use chemistry as an enabler to resolve problems in resources, environment and climate, food and nutrition, and quality of life. All three segments being of main importance to BASF right now. Next slide, please. What you're seeing here, this is our definition of our growth fields. So BASF has basically two types of research. One is the research dedicated to the segments we are already present in, we're already working on. This is related to the segments Svetlana was mentioning before, oil and gas, personal care, and so on and so forth. And the second part of our innovation strategy is the fields, the technology and business fields we are currently not very strongly present in. And those are here. So you can see it goes from transportation to energy, going through agriculture, customer goods, and so on, defining for each of the customer industry a certain field in which we are investing money. And right now, I would say from our R&D, most of it, so over 80%, is going specifically in each of these growth fields, so very focused. And we are going to talk today about the challenges which are related to mainly the energy management and renewable resources. This is the main focus. Next slide, please.
Olivia, this is Roberta. We're having just a little bit of trouble hearing you. Would you be able to speak up just a bit, please?
Yeah, okay. Is that better now?
That's better.
A little louder.
Better?
Yes.
Okay.
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Good, next slide, please. Yeah, right. Okay. So one of the important technology fields we are working on is the raw material change. So working on sustainable processes to produce natural gas, biomass, to produce new chemicals and energy using alternative raw materials such as natural gas, biomass, and CO2. You can see some definition here. Biomass goes right now mainly lignocellulose. I will explain a bit more why in a minute. But also looking very strongly into CO2, as you know. I mean, most of the world, CO2 is going to be in the couple next years a big issue. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I'm going to skip this one because otherwise it's going to be too long. Can you go on the next one, please? Okay. So now we're going on to the challenge. So as I said, I kept it very general. So what we want to achieve is having renewable and sustainable feedstock that we want to transform in, generally speaking, energy and materials using an efficient process. So this is quite basic, quite simple. Next slide, please. And why is that? Is because the energy conservation through the adoption of emerging energy efficient supply has really a central role in the future. Biofuel and biochemicals, so as they are produced as of today, they already create hundreds of millions of metric tons demand annually, and this is climbing enormously in the few next years. And as you see on point number 3, I made a projection for the 2 next decades. Based on the current technologies, the Earth would need for biofuel and biochemical demands around 2 billion metric tons of sugar-yielding crops, 330 or several million metric tons of oilseed, quite a lot of cellulosic biomass, and some waste feedstock. And this is going to cause a lot of stress, really major stress, in several countries, especially the European region, in the US, but also especially in China. They're already taking measures against that. If the mix of the feedstock is not changed. So it means if we are not switching to other biomasses or to waste, so usage of waste. So that's what's coming in on the next slide. So the need is to go to non-dedicated crops, meaning not cannibalizing any food or feed resources we have for the population, and using more efficiently waste streams. One example, which is a recent example from last year, BASF invested in a company, I think it was 50 million, in a startup company in the US on the West Coast called Renmatics, which is doing treating lignocellulosic biomass to produce a sugar-based system using supercritical water-based process. Next slide, please. All right, so what does the challenge include? I'm going to go a little bit on the specifics on all three boxes, or 4 boxes that you're seeing. So renewable, what are renewable and sustainable feedstock? What is an efficient process? What are the energy or the materials we would like to produce using such a process? But first of all, just want to make clear that this challenge, well, actually we published 2 challenges, and I combined both in one to make it a bit more general. This challenge includes chemical and biotechnological methods. For us, preferably, generally speaking, biotechnological methods, because we have a stronger belief in biotech right now, but this is still very open, but also solar-based or thermal-based systems based on inorganic, organic, or biotechnological systems. The challenge includes also proposals for, not only for the process itself, proposals regarding engineering, so process plan design in terms of green refineries, modeling, economics and business model, for example, developing a concept for decentralized systems, and also concept for collection and pre-treatment. Along the whole value chain of using biomass or using any feedstock to produce energy and chemical, the process is one central point, but what we realized in the past few years is that the economics, the business model, and all the periphery, so the infrastructure, decentralized systems, and so on, are almost of equal importance. So we will consider also other proposals. Next slide, please. Okay, so I already said that. The process, I kept it very generic. It can be a chemical or a biotechnological process, basically an enzymatic or any other type of microorganism. The focus of BASF right now, and this is the focus of the chemical industry, I would say, generally speaking, even the oil and gas industry, is on 2 main research. One is solid-state catalytic system, so solid supported, and enzymatic system, usually fungus or bacteria. All right, next slide. Right, waste. So what are renewable and sustainable feedstock in this challenge? Those are all the waste that you could consider, and any non-specific biomass, which means non-dedicated to food or energy crops. So there is a huge political discussion right now about using feed materials or crops used for feed or for food to use them to produce biofuel, and we want to avoid that by using said waste or non-specific biomass. You can read, I don't know if you are going to get a copy of the slides, but you can read that on the slides. Maybe later on, this could be, it could be animal fats and residues, could be secondary lignocellulosic biomass or agricultural residues, wood residues, or municipal paper waste. Sewage sludge or municipal solid waste can be plastic. Instead of recycling, using them or burning them, using them as feedstock, halophytes, and waste gases, which is mainly flue gas or carbon dioxide emission. The last one, carbon dioxide and flue gas, being very interesting, but some kind of a holy grail, I guess. Next slide. Thank you. So in terms of energy, the two standard ones would be biofuels and biogas, of course. Biogas is mainly syngas, but any other type would be considered. Technically speaking, anything as in syngas is usually very difficult to achieve, but any good proposal would be welcome for that. Biofuel is mainly target ethanol and biodiesel. Biodiesel being the esters, the standard esters. And in terms of chemicals, there are three main categories: the cellulose-derived chemicals, so to produce really materials replacement for polymers, so renewable or green polymers, if you want. So like cellophane or acetate, rayon, these types of materials. Doesn't need to be these materials, but this type of materials. Then also drop-in replacement for petrochemicals, so building blocks for existing polymers, or basing chemicals like butanol, 2,3-butanediol, polyethylene, isopropene, lactic acid for polylactic acid, these sorts of raw materials. And any other type of high-value added specialty chemicals. Could be amines, could be some specific furfural, any type of higher value based chemical that could be feed in a large-scale process. Next slide, please. All right, I think I said that already at the beginning. This was just a bit a summary of the battles going on right now between the rising demand, the increasing bio-based feedstock demand as a positive side, which is sustainable, renewable production, insulation from petroleum, of course, and consumer appeal, which is this green touch, but has major drawbacks when we're talking about standard and the current use of biomass, which is the indirect land use change, the environmental supplies and price volatility. The third point, food versus fuel. This is currently politically, but also technically very high on the top of the list of the problems. The general fear of genetically modified organisms in the population, especially in Europe, and the resistance to corporate agribusiness, of course. Next slide, please. All right. What would we focus on if we would put a proposal on? Is we would focus on major streams in terms of biomass, alternative biomass, secondary biomass, for example, lignocellulosic biomass, and in terms of waste, mainly flue gas and plastics waste. Mainly for the reason major waste right now are waste where the collection and recycling, collection and or recycling are already organized. So collection and production and collection of ignosic cellulosic biomass and treatment of flue gas and collection of plastics are quite well established and in very large amounts. So they are readily available. All the other ones I mentioned in the past are still very fragmented in terms of supply. I would also focus on major streams, so outputs. There would be ethanol, butanediol, and sugar, mainly. Any other type can be considered too, of course, depending on the specifics. The selectivity, the total eco-efficiency, the sensitivity to contaminants, this is very central, are going to be important for the process development, for the process itself, especially the sensitivity to contaminants. We know by experience that this is one of the main problem we are encountering developing process for renewable materials. because by definition renewable materials are usually as inputs as material, not pure materials. Always a mix. Engineering and scale-up input can be obtained from BASF, and this is where we are very strong. We can support that at a later stage, of course. And energy conscious process, so if combined with several other type of green technology, like solar-based, this could be very attractive and would be favored. Okay, next slide, please. And I think at this point, Svetlana will take over again. Svetlana.
Hello. Okay, thank you for switching back to me. Okay, so what I wanted to say here, just as a wrap-up, we said that we are actually looking that the good partnerships are mutually selective, and both parties need to see it as a win-win opportunity. And this is not just related to the challenges, but in general, how to work with BASF. And what we did recently is we launched a website that talks more about it's a BASF Open Innovation web portal, and it can be accessed from our North America Innovation page. That would mean if you go to www.basf.us and look for the Innovation tab at the top of the page, it will take you to the screen that you're seeing now. This page also includes a tour of our virtual innovation center, which is really nice. But if you come to visit us, that would actually, we have the physical center, interactive center in our headquarters, and also in other, I think also the main headquarters in Germany. But for those that cannot come and visit us, it's available on the website. And also we have a link to We Create Chemistry pages, which is our strategy and different fields of interest. Next slide, please. Okay, so the Open Innovation Portal is supposed to, the purpose of the portal is to simplify and streamline submission of collaboration and business development requests to BASF, and it can be used to share collaboration in our collaboration interests that are approved for public communication. In this case, we are not going to be posting the challenge on our side because, again, it's a partnership with Connecticut Innovations, but and we are lucky to be able to actually work with them. However, in the cases like, I mean, this country is much bigger, and other states do not necessarily have similar programs. So what we use Portal for actually is a way to connect with other partners, potential partners, and so it's our outreach web strategy. However, it's also a place where others can reach us. And since it is directly actually connected to our Open Innovation platform, it also allows us to quickly do evaluation and the assessment of the fit, because the platform itself has neat tools that allow us technology landscape analysis as well as the ecosystem analysis of who's doing what in the field. If anybody who is interested in collaborative innovation related or unrelated to the challenges, they can again also register at the portal, and also if you have a colleagues and you think that BASF could be a potential partner to them as well, feel free to recommend this page to them. Next slide, please. So just wanted to share points of contact again for City Innovation Challenges. Dr. Olivier Enger, his email is provided here, and also for other leads and opportunities. We have a person in our team that it's dedicated Open Innovation Leads Manager, and his name is George Mandrakas. You will be seeing him more in different SBIR meetings and the university startup meetings and so on. This is his email address here, and so you can connect with us either through the portal or through the email, as well as through LinkedIn. We are on LinkedIn, so that's another option. Thank you very much. I think this is all we wanted to add at this point. I don't know if Olivier had any final words.
Yeah, well, no. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the description, and I'm waiting to answer any questions now.
Okay, thank you very much, Olivier and Svetlana. We do have a few questions that have come in, and I also want to let folks know, as you can see, there's a little bit of a delay. So if there seems to be a little bit of lag time, don't be concerned. First question is, do you have a technology in R&D to produce 1,2,3 propane diol and HMN from waste? Any interest?
I actually cannot hear you very well. Could you repeat that already?
Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please. I didn't hear the question.
Okay. We have a technology in R&D to produce a 1,2,3 propane diol and HFM from waste. Any interest?
Yes.
Okay.
Very probably yes.
What I would encourage you.
Yeah, well, it all depends on the waste and on the details of the specific, of course, but this is a very good start. So, I mean, yeah, sure. We'd be very interested.
Great. Okay, another question. Why ethanol? Butanol is a much better alcohol and it has a drop in fuel.
Why ethanol and what is the rest?
Ethanol and not butanol.
Okay, no, well, butanol too. I mean, this was mentioned too. Ethanol is still quite used as an additive in quite a few gas. I mean, the standard in Europe, for example, I'm not sure about the U.S. to be very honest, is the addition of ethanol is required to reach certain standard of green fuel, or green car, also gas for car, basically. And the demand worldwide of ethanol is actually quite still high. But that's correct. Methanol and ethanol are the two main ones.
Okay. Excellent. Now we also have a couple of questions about the process. And folks have asked whether or not these slides will be available after the presentation. Yes, they will. I'll make sure to publish them on the iHub, the Connecticut iHub, which I'll talk about in a minute. And the recording of the webinar will also be available. I'll get an email out to you telling you how you can access it. You'll have a link to it. Can cost share used on other programs be used for this program? I'm going to hold that question for a moment because I'm going to talk about process in a bit, and then we'll address it. Right now, I'd encourage anyone else who has a question about technical issues to send it in. We have a few more that came in. Is pyrolysis considered a chemical biomass conversion process?
Excuse me? I really some audio
I might be
difficulty.
pronouncing it wrong. It spells P-Y-R-O-L-Y-S-I-S.
Yes. Yeah, pyrolysis. Yeah. And what did you say? Sorry, pyrolysis?
Is it considered a chemical biomass conversion process?
Would be. Yes. Could be. Depending what comes out of pyrolysis. I mean, right now, the number of process using pyrolysis based on waste are most of them non-specific, non-selective, and this is posing quite a few problems.
Okay. And also, do you have any interest on the high-efficient catalytic green refiner for syngas? S-Y-N-G-A-S.
Yes, Inga. Probably less in this case.
Okay.
Simply because we have a couple of other projects we're running on syngas, going in a bit other directions, and this is a strategic decision from, at least for our company. It doesn't mean it's not interesting, generally speaking, but less for BSF right now.
Okay. Any other technical questions or questions for Olivier and Svetlana? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move forward, talk a little bit about the process. Again, if you have questions, you can either give a call afterwards. There's contact information out there, and you can get in touch with Olivier and Svetlana, or you can call us if they're different types. So, Olivia and Svetlana, you have one last slide on leads and how to get notice. Did you want to go over that before we go forward?
Well, this one on the back, I think we don't think we need that. This one's right.
Yeah, we don't need it for today, but this is just general, like we can provide it to the audience if they're interested.
Okay, great. All right. So a little bit about the challenge itself. If you haven't already, and I'm fairly certain that most of you have, go to the Connecticut iHub. It's ctihub.com. Read the RFP again. Make sure you're very familiar with the topic. And also your application is in that RFP. And you'll need, by the way, to be a member of the Connecticut iHub before you can apply. So if you haven't become a member or registered yet, please go ahead and do that. Then you'll want to form a Connecticut team. So we need a Connecticut school and a Connecticut business in order to be able to apply for this particular program. Go ahead and download, complete, and upload the application cover page. Now, if you'll notice, it says no proposals yet, and this is important. The Connecticut iHub is a very secure platform. It is a business collaboration tool, and it works similar to Facebook. So there are things that you don't mind if the public sees, if the general public sees, and there are things that you want to keep more private, that you would only like a few folks to see. And so your proposal is one of those things. So we need to set you up with a particular space in order for you to be able to upload your proposal and keep it private. So please, just the application cover page is what you upload first. When we get that, it will alert us that you want to begin the process. We'll contact you to let you know what the next step is, so please wait for a response from us. Now, as far as how your proposals will be judged, there will be a team of judges who are going to take a look at them and evaluate them. The bulk of those judges will be from BASF and for the other topics from the other companies. They'll be looking at your proposal for technical merit. In other words, is your proposal going to do what it says it's going to do? Is it innovative? Going to cause some breakthrough innovation? Do you have the financial leverage? So in other words, do you have the money to advance this should you need more than the actual grant? Is your company established? Are you going to be able to come up with a match? If you can't do it yourself as a small company, you might also want to consider getting some backers or partnering with another company that might be able to put those funds up. They'll be looking at market need and impact. According to what they told you their market needs were, what kind of, how does your proposal stack up? What kind of an impact is it going to have on that need? And finally, we'll be looking at the economic impact for the state. Are you going to be able to create jobs from this? If so, how many? And what other economic impacts can the state expect to see from their investment? I do want to mention also that in the RFP, the application deadline is stated as January 24th. We are extending that. We got a little bit of a late start, and the holidays intervened, so it was difficult to get people to engage during that time. I understand that. So we're going to extend the deadline until the 31st of this month. And finally, a little bit about funding. The funding payment goes to the small company. There's been some question on who gets that money. The small company gets it, and then you decide how you want to disperse those funds and who you want to pay with them. can pay your school, your research institution, any other expenses that you have. And finally, we will be expecting quarterly reports before you get your next reimbursement. The way it works is your proposal gets funded, you get your initial quarter funding. At the end of that quarter, you write us a report, you tell us what your progress is, you show us your receipts and your invoices, show us that you're actually spending the money in the way that you said that you were. We give you your next payment, and so on for the next 2 quarters. You will be also expected to be giving us reports after that just to see how things are progressing, and again, what kind of economic impact the state can expect. I'm going to take a look at some other questions, and then we do have a couple more technical ones, but right now I want to focus on the administrative ones. There was a question about cost share. Can cost share used on other programs be used for this program?
Well, this is Deb Santee. I'm not really sure I understand the question, so if I don't answer it to your liking or to your, not so much to your liking, but if I'm missing the point, come back at me. But the bottom line is that you can't use state or federal money from another project as your match on this project. You also can't double bill. So in other words, because that would be fraud when you're using state or federal money. In other words, if I have a $10 expense and the federal government is paying for that expense under one program, and now I put that same expense under the state program, that would be called fraud. So I'm not sure what your question is, but no, you're not allowed to use state and federal money from one project for yet another project as your match. I mean, you can be combining your work and doing that kind of thing, but we're really looking for your own skin in the game on this one, and besides which it's not allowed to use federal or state money from one project for another project. That's being funded by the state or federal government. So if I haven't answered it, you can come back to me privately or publicly today, but hopefully I covered it. Is there any other admin question that I should address?
No, I think that's it for admin. Olivier and Svetlana, we do have another question. Do you have any interest in algae projects?
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Algae project. Yeah, I have some difficulties to answer this one because we are just currently actually writing or taking a decision on this on algae. Algae as biomass, very probably not, because according to our analysis, this is not eco-efficient enough. But algae as organisms in the process. In photoreactors or standard reactors and modified, I mean also in terms of synthetic biology, yes, this is still under consideration and is actually under review right now at BSF.
Great, thank you.
No more questions?
No more questions yet. So I want to talk a little bit about next steps. As I mentioned, I'll be sending an email out with instructions on how to access the webinar recording, and I'll get the slides out for you to view. We have some folks in the audience today I know who are looking for partners. As of Monday, we are expecting to have a vehicle for you to be able to publish what your work is, whether you're a company or you're a university, and people will be able to search and browse and take a look at what's out there and see who is looking for partners. It will be done electronically on the Connecticut iHub. But first, as I mentioned, you really do have to get registered so that you can connect and collaborate. In the meantime, if you want to give me a call, I'm going to be getting to contact information in a second. If you want to give me a call, we can also take a look at some other ways to help you get matched. If you want to talk about the challenge, please feel free to give Deb Santee a call or myself, Roberta Rossi, we're happy to help you. And I really would encourage you to err on the side of going forward. Sometimes folks get intimidated and they think that maybe their projects or their research are really not eligible or worth going forward. Ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Call us up, talk to Olivier and Svetlana, and the worst that can happen is someone would say no. The best that can happen is you can be a lot farther than you are today with your research and your project. So let's see if there are any other questions. Yes. My company is just founded. Am I eligible to apply? Actually, there is a requirement. It's in the RFP that you need to be established for at least a year. There are some significant cash requirements, as I mentioned earlier. $75,000 in funding if you get in cash match. If you get $150 in funding, if you can meet that, give us a call and we'll take a look and see if we want to make an exception in this particular case. Another option would be to see, as I mentioned earlier, if there's another company that you can partner with. Let's see. The cost share is real money, just being used as backing for many other programs. It's difficult to raise matching money for multiple programs. Let me read that again. The cost share is real money, just being used as backing many other programs. It's difficult to raise matching funds for multiple programs. This relates to the question on cost sharing earlier.
Right. Okay. So if you have gotten $75,000 from a third party and you have put that money in a project plan that says you're going to spend it in the following ways, A, B, C, D, and along comes your proposal for this program, unless A, B, C, D are relevant to this program as well, and you're doing the same, the same A, but it in fact satisfies both projects, that would be okay because it's work, and that money can be is being used accordingly. If it's different, then the answer would be no, and you're pretty much on your integrity here because I wouldn't know that, or no one reviewing would be able to know that. I certainly would advise somebody to not ever do anything that is wrong, because you get caught at it, it's a bad thing. But if in fact you're using that money for action items that are relevant to both programs, I can see that money is being used as the match for ours.
Any other questions? And folks, as I said, if you don't get your questions in during the webinar, please feel free to email or call any of us. We're happy to help you however we can. We really do want to see you succeed. So I thank everyone who is involved today. The ASF folks, thank you so much for participating. And our webinar participants, thank you so much for your interest. And we hope to hear from you soon. There is one more thing.
Yeah, this is Deb Santi. I have a question. What time is it in Switzerland?
Oh, it's 3:30. So 3
In the
p.m.
afternoon? Okay.
Yeah, in the afternoon, p.m. Yeah, it's actually nice, sunny, and there are some snow on the mountains. So you're welcome to come skiing here.
Well, that would be lovely, but I don't think that's fitting in this budget. But in any case, I was very curious to know if you were up in the middle of the night handling this. No. But that's good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I really enjoyed participating. Thank you for the invitation again.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you again.
Okay, we'll be
Thanks and good luck to all participants.
Yes, yes. Good luck to everyone.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. That was just to give somebody